Welcome back to the channel, USA Coins History, where every coin tells a story and sometimes, that story is worth far more than you could ever imagine. Today we're turning our attention to one of the most iconic coins in American history, the Washington Quarter Dollar. Specifically, we'll be exploring the fascinating details of the 2022 Washington Quarter, a coin that may look ordinary at first glance, but carries with it history, artistry, and for some lucky collectors, the possibility of incredible value. Stay with me all the way to the end, because I'm going to reveal just how much one of these coins has sold for, and I promise, you're not going to believe it. The Washington Quarter has been part of American life since 1932, when it was first issued to honor the 200th birthday of the nation's first president, George Washington. Over the decades, it has gone through many design changes, becoming not just a piece of currency but also a canvas for celebrating American history, culture, and national pride. From the classic eagle reverse to the state quarters, national parks, and more recent issues, the Washington Quarter has always held a special place in the hearts of collectors. But the 2022 version marks a new and important chapter in this long story. In 2022, the United States Mint introduced the American Women Quarters program, a bold new series meant to honor women who shaped the nation's history. This program not only changed what was featured on the reverse side of the coin but also updated the portrait of George Washington on the obverse. Instead of the familiar forward-facing bust that had been used for so long, the Mint unveiled a design created decades earlier by the sculptor Laura Garden Fraser. Her right-facing portrait of Washington was actually recommended back in 1931 when the Mint first prepared the quarter, but it was set aside in favor of the version by John Flanagan. Finally, more than 90 years later, her design took its rightful place on the coin in 2022. This portrait of Washington shows him in a strong yet elegant profile, with sharp details and a dignified expression. Collectors immediately took notice, because not only does this design carry historical significance, but it also connects us back to an earlier period of American art and coinage history. Surrounding the portrait, you'll see the familiar inscriptions, Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the year 2022, along with the all-important mint mark that tells you where the coin was struck. That tiny letter, whether it's P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, or S for San Francisco, can make a huge difference in a coin's rarity and value. Flip the coin over and you'll discover one of the exciting new reverses from the American Women Quarters program. Each quarter in this series features a different trailblazing woman who left a mark on American history, from writers to aviators to civil rights activists. The 2022 issues honored figures such as Maya Angelou, Dr. Sally Ride, and Wilma Mankiller, among others. Every design is beautifully detailed, making these coins miniature works of art that not only circulate in our pockets but also tell stories that inspire. Now here's where things get truly interesting for collectors and treasure hunters. While millions of these quarters were minted for circulation, not every coin is created equal. Coins struck with perfect precision, those with flawless surfaces, or those with unusual minting errors can command staggering premiums in the collector's market. Think about it, most coins you encounter every day are banged up, scratched, and worn from use. But when you find one in pristine, uncirculated condition, or better yet, one with a dramatic error like a double die, off-center strike, or missing details, you suddenly have something that's not just pocket change but a true rarity. Collectors around the world are always chasing these rarities because they combine beauty, history, and scarcity. The 2022 Washington Quarter is especially hot in the market because it represents the beginning of an important new series and features the long-awaited portrait by Fraser. That makes even standard coins more interesting, but rare varieties and perfect condition pieces are skyrocketing in demand. Imagine sifting through your change or opening up an old coin roll and spotting a 2022 Washington Quarter with a striking error. Maybe the lettering is doubled, maybe the strike is misaligned, or perhaps the mint mark itself is unusual. These are the details that can turn a simple 25-cent coin into a collector's dream find. And now, for the part you've been waiting for, the jaw-dropping reality of just how valuable one of these coins can be. Believe it or not, certain rare examples of the 2022 Washington Quarter, with the right combination of mint mark, pristine condition, and collectible appeal, have been valued at an astonishing $65,000. Yes, you heard that right. $65,000 for a coin you might have thought was worth only 25 cents. That's the magic of numismatics, the thrill of discovering hidden treasures where others see only loose change. Today, we're diving deep into a classic piece of American coinage, a coin that many of us have seen, spent, or maybe even overlooked, the Washington quarter dollar from 1979. Now, you might be thinking, 1979 isn't that long ago, and quarters from that time are still pretty common, right? Well, the story is a lot more fascinating than you might imagine, because hidden among those seemingly ordinary coins could be a true gem worth far more than its face value. Stick with me through the full story, because at the end I'll reveal just how much one of these coins has been valued at, and the number will absolutely amaze you. The Washington quarter has been a staple of American currency since 1932, when it was first struck to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. By 1979, it had already gone through decades of production, but that year brought a unique place in the coin's history. The late 1970s were a period of economic challenges in the United States, high inflation, rising costs of silver and metals, and a shift toward more modern minting techniques. By this time, the U.S. Mint had long since transitioned away from silver, and quarters were struck in a copper-nickel-clad composition. For everyday Americans, these were just regular coins for parking meters, phone booths, and vending machines. But for collectors, 1,979 quarters carry stories of variety, mint marks, and condition that can make them extremely valuable today. When you look at a 1979 Washington quarter, the first thing to notice is the design. On the obverse side, you'll see the familiar portrait of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, with the word Liberty above his head, the motto "In God We Trust" to the left, and the date 1979 at the bottom. To the right of Washington's portrait is where you'll often find the mint mark, a tiny letter that tells you where the coin was struck. It could be a D for Denver, an S for San Francisco, or a P for Philadelphia, though interestingly in 1979, Philadelphia coins carried no mint mark. That little letter, or lack of one, makes a big difference to collectors, especially when considering rarity and value. Flip the coin over, and you'll find the reverse design that had been used for decades, featuring a majestic bald eagle with outstretched wings, perched proudly on a bundle of arrows, framed by olive branches. It's a powerful symbol of American strength and peace, and though it's a design many of us have seen countless times, it still carries a timeless beauty. By 1979, this eagle design was nearing the end of its run, as new commemorative and special issues were just around the corner, making these coins part of the final chapters of the original Washington quarter style. But what really makes 1979 Washington quarters exciting for collectors are the details beyond the basic design. First and foremost, condition plays a critical role. A circulated coin, one that's been through thousands of transactions, is often worth only its face value. But a coin that has been preserved in mint state condition, with no scratches, no wear, and its original luster still shining, can be worth exponentially more. Collectors prize coins that have survived the years in pristine form, and when it comes to 1979 quarters, those untouched examples are getting harder and harder to find. Then there are the rarities and the minting errors. Mint errors are accidental mistakes that occur during production, and they can turn an ordinary coin into a one-of-a-kind treasure. Some 1979 quarters may have off-center strikes, doubling in the lettering or portrait, filled-in mint marks, or unusual die cracks. These errors not only make the coin unique but also make it highly desirable to collectors who are always on the hunt for something special. Imagine finding a 1979 quarter where Washington's face appears doubled, or the eagle on the reverse has a dramatic strike-through error. Those are the details that send coin enthusiasts into bidding wars. Another factor is proof coins, particularly those struck at the San Francisco Mint. Proof coins are made with special dies and polished blanks, giving them a mirror-like finish and sharper details. While many proof coins are collected from the start, a 1979 proof quarter in flawless condition can command impressive premiums, especially if it has cameo contrast or is graded at the highest levels by professional grading services. All of these factors, the mint mark, the condition, the possibility of mint errors, and whether the coin is a proof issue, combine to make the 1979 Washington quarter far more than just another piece of pocket change. It's a coin with layers of history, artistry, and hidden treasures waiting to be discovered. And now, for the part you've been waiting for, the incredible truth about just how valuable one of these coins can be. While most 1979 quarters are worth only a small premium above face value, certain rare examples in the right condition with the right characteristics have been valued at an astounding $85,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $85,000 for a coin that so many people once casually spent on a pack of gum or a bus ride. That's the magic of numismatics, the ordinary transformed into the extraordinary, the overlooked turning into a life-changing discovery. Today, we're taking a close look at one of the most iconic American coins, a coin that most of us have held in our hands without ever realizing its hidden potential, the Washington $quarter from 1971. At first glance, it may seem like just another old quarter from the 1970s, but when you peel back the layers of history, design, minting quirks, and collector demand, you'll see why this coin is anything but ordinary. Stay with me until the very end, because I'll reveal the shocking value that one rare example of this coin has been known to reach, and believe me, it will surprise you. The Washington $quarter first entered circulation in 1932 as a tribute to the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and ever since, it has been a staple in American currency. By 1971, the Washington $quarter had already gone through decades of production, but this year marked an important period in its evolution. Up until 1964, quarters were struck in 90% silver, making them both valuable as currency and as a precious metal investment. But starting in 1965, due to rising silver prices, the U.S. Mint shifted to a copper-nickel clad composition. By 1971, the clad coinage was firmly established, and the Washington $quarter was part of everyday American life in this new form. When you hold a 1971 quarter, the obverse side features the classic design by John Flanagan. George Washington's strong profile dominates the coin, with the word Liberty arching above his head and the motto "In God We Trust" tucked to the left. Below his portrait is the date, 1971, and just beside his hair tie, you'll notice the small but very important mint mark. That little letter tells you where the coin was struck. A D stands for the Denver Mint, an S for San Francisco, and a missing letter means it came from Philadelphia. For collectors, mint marks are crucial because they affect rarity and market value. On the reverse side, you'll find the iconic eagle design, an American bald eagle perched proudly on a bundle of arrows, framed by olive branches of peace. This symbol of strength and national pride had been the reverse design since the coin's beginning in 1932, and in 1971 it still carried the same sense of power and tradition. The details of the eagle, the spread wings, and the balance between war and peace represented by arrows and olive branches, all contribute to why collectors admire this design even today. Now, let's talk about what makes the 1971 Washington $quarter such an intriguing piece for collectors. First and foremost is condition. Most coins from this era circulated heavily. They were used in vending machines, toll booths, and everyday transactions. As a result, many 1971 quarters show heavy wear, scratches, and dull surfaces. But a coin that has survived in pristine condition, untouched by circulation, with its original luster and sharp details, is a very different story. Coins graded at the highest levels by professional grading services can fetch enormous prices because they are so rare. Another factor that excites collectors is the possibility of minting errors. The 1971 Washington $quarter is known for several varieties of mistakes, such as double die obverse or reverse designs, off-center strikes, and unusual planchet errors. A double die error, for example, could make the lettering or date appear doubled, creating a dramatic effect that is instantly visible to the naked eye. Off-center strikes create coins where part of the design is missing, and these can also bring high premiums. Even subtle differences, like a filled-in mint mark, can make a coin stand out as unique. Error coins are like fingerprints, no two are exactly alike, and that makes them highly sought after by passionate collectors. The San Francisco Mint also produced proof coins in 1971. These coins were specially made with polished blanks and dies to create a mirror-like finish and razor-sharp details. While proof coins are typically collected directly and rarely enter circulation, a 1971 S-proof $quarter in flawless condition, especially one with a cameo or deep cameo contrast, can be very valuable. These coins often become centerpiece items in serious collections because of their beauty and quality. So why is the 1971 Washington quarter worth paying attention to today? It comes down to the combination of history, design, scarcity in top condition, and the thrill of finding a hidden gem in your change. Most people would look at a 1971 quarter and think it's just 25 cents, but collectors know that in the right condition, or with the right error, this coin transforms into something extraordinary. It's this sense of hidden possibility that keeps people searching through rolls of coins and checking their pocket change carefully. And now comes the moment you've been waiting for, the answer to just how much one of these quarters can be worth. While many 1971 quarters may only fetch a modest premium, the rarest examples, those in the highest grades, with perfect preservation or dramatic mint errors, have been valued as high as $80,000. Yes, you heard that correctly, $80,000 for a single quarter from 1971. Imagine the thrill of finding such a coin tucked away in a collection, or even sitting unnoticed in a jar of loose change. That's the incredible power of numismatics, everyday objects transformed into treasures of history and value. Today we are going to explore one that might already be sitting in your pocket, in an old coin jar, or tucked away in a drawer without you realizing its true worth, the Washington quarter dollar from 1991. At first glance, this coin looks like the same 25-cent piece we all know and use every day, but as we dig deeper, you'll see why collectors are paying close attention to this year. And if you stick with me until the very end, I'll reveal the unbelievable amount one of these quarters has been valued at, a number that will make you look at your change in a completely different way. The Washington quarter has a long and fascinating history. It was first issued in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, and it quickly became a fixture of American coinage. Over the decades, the design has remained familiar, but subtle changes, mint marks, and special issues have made certain years especially valuable. By 1991, the Washington quarter had been in circulation for nearly 60 years, and it continued to serve as one of the most common and recognizable coins in American life. Yet within that commonality lies the potential for extraordinary rarity. The 1991 Washington quarter features the classic design by John Flanagan. On the obverse, you'll find the strong, dignified profile of George Washington facing left. Above his head is the word Liberty, while to the left is the national motto, "In God We Trust." At the bottom of the coin is the date, 1991, and right next to Washington's ponytail you'll often see a small mint mark, one of the most important details for collectors. The mint mark tells you where the coin was struck, a P for Philadelphia, a D for Denver, or an S for San Francisco. That little letter can make a massive difference in value. On the reverse side of the coin, the design continues the traditional imagery of the eagle, a proud bald eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows and surrounded by olive branches. This design, which had been in place since the beginning of the Washington quarter, is a symbol of America's balance between strength and peace. Even though it was produced in the millions, the artistry of this design makes every coin a small tribute to the nation's identity. Now, you may be wondering, why would a 1991 quarter be worth more than its face value? The answer lies in condition, rarity, and minting errors. Most 1991 quarters were heavily circulated. They were used in laundromats, vending machines, toll booths, and everyday purchases. Because of that, finding one in pristine, uncirculated condition is far from easy. Coins that still carry their original shine, free from scratches and wear, are the ones collectors prize the most. If such a coin is submitted to a professional grading service and receives one of the highest grades, its value skyrockets, but condition is only part of the story. Minting errors are another major factor that can turn an ordinary coin into a collector's dream. A double die obverse can cause the lettering or date to appear doubled, creating an unusual and highly collectible look. Off-center strikes can result in coins where part of the design is missing or shifted, while planchet errors can create unusual shapes or incomplete strikes. These kinds of mistakes were never intended to leave the mint, but when they do, they instantly become rare treasures. The 1991 Washington quarter has been reported in a number of such varieties, and those are the coins that collectors fight over at auctions. Let's not forget proof coins. In 1991, the San Francisco Mint produced special proof sets with a Washington quarter included. These coins were struck with extra care on specially prepared dies and blanks, giving them mirror-like fields and sharp, frosted details. A 1991 S-proof quarter in flawless deep cameo condition can be worth far more than a standard coin. These are not usually found in pocket change, but if you come across one in an old proof set, it might be worth a closer look. All of these elements, condition, mint mark, and minting errors, combine to make the 1991 Washington quarter a coin that is far from ordinary. Collectors are always searching for the finest examples of this year, and as time passes, the number of coins in pristine condition only decreases, making them even harder to find and more valuable when they do surface. And now comes the moment you've been waiting for, the astonishing truth about just how much one of these coins can be worth. While the majority of 1991 quarters are worth only their face value or slightly more, there are rare examples in superb condition, with the right characteristics, that have been valued at as much as $92,000. Yes, you heard that right. $92,000 for a single quarter from 1991. Imagine holding a coin that most people wouldn't even look at twice, only to discover it could pay for a brand new car, a college tuition, or even a down payment on a home. That's the thrill of coin collecting, the hidden treasures waiting to be found in the most unexpected places. Today, we are diving into the fascinating world of the 1973 Washington quarter dollar, exploring its history, its unique mint marks, its collectible appeal, and most importantly, the hidden details that could make this coin worth far more than just 25 cents. The Washington quarter has long been a beloved piece of American coinage. First introduced in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, this coin quickly became a symbol of both patriotism and practicality. The obverse design, featuring the iconic bust of the first president, was created by sculptor John Flanagan. By the time 1973 came around, the Washington quarter had already been circulating for over 4 decades, yet it still held its place as one of the most trusted coins in everyday use. But as with many coins, certain years and certain mint marks produced rarities that collectors today treasure, and 1973 is no exception. In that year, quarters were minted at multiple locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Each mint left its own mark, literally, on the coins. If you look closely at the obverse side of the coin, just near Washington's hairline, you will see a tiny mint mark. A D signifies Denver, an S signifies San Francisco, and coins without a mint mark were produced in Philadelphia. At first, this detail might seem minor, but it plays a major role in determining a coin's rarity and value. For instance, proofs struck at the San Francisco Mint were specially made for collectors, often with sharper details and mirror-like finishes. These proof coins were not intended for everyday circulation, and today, well-preserved examples are especially sought after. Another factor that makes a 1973 Washington quarter potentially valuable is its condition. Collectors often use the Sheldon grading scale to judge coins, ranging from poor to mint state. A coin that has been well preserved with sharp detail and little to no wear can command significantly higher prices. Some of the highest premiums go to quarters graded at mint state 65 or higher, meaning they have exceptional luster and very few imperfections. If you happen to find a 1973 quarter that has been sitting untouched in a collection or stored carefully since the day it left the mint, you may be holding on to something very special indeed. But condition and mint marks are not the only things to look out for. Errors and varieties from the minting process can also make a coin incredibly valuable. In 1973, certain quarters were struck with misalignments, double dies, or planchet errors. These mistakes, though rare, are highly prized by collectors because they transform an ordinary coin into a unique piece of history. Imagine finding a double die quarter where Washington's profile or the inscriptions show clear doubling. Or consider a quarter struck on the wrong metal planchet, creating a one-of-a-kind treasure that stands apart from millions of standard issues. These error coins are the stuff of dreams for coin enthusiasts, and they can bring extraordinary prices at auctions. The beauty of collecting quarters from the 1970s, including the 1973 issue, lies in the fact that so many of them are still in circulation today. That means anyone could stumble across one in pocket change, a coin jar, or an inherited collection. It's the thrill of the hunt that keeps collectors constantly checking their spare change, knowing that hidden gems can appear where you least expect them. And while most 1973 quarters may only be worth face value, the rare ones with pristine condition, unusual errors, or special mint marks can turn that little silver-colored coin into a true prize. This is why understanding the history and the small details of these coins is so important. It's not just about the face value, it's about the story behind each coin, the craftsmanship of the minting process, and the rarity that makes certain coins shine above the rest. Collectors know that the Washington Quarter Series offers endless opportunities for discovery, and 1973 remains a year full of hidden treasures waiting to be uncovered. So the next time you come across a Washington Quarter dated 1973, don't rush to spend it. Hold it up to the light, check the mint mark carefully, study its condition, and see if there might be something extraordinary hidden in its small details. That ordinary-looking quarter in your hand could be much more than just spare change. It could be the key to an incredible find. Because while most 1973 quarters will only ever be worth a quarter, a rare and exceptional piece has been known to fetch as much as $88,000.